Alright, welcome to the definitive Tangem versus Arculus video. Here's how we're going to do this. I'm going to break it down into 5 actually meaningful categories and choose a winner for each one. And since it's an odd number, there has to be a winner, there will be no ties. But since we're not crazy and we know that one winner doesn't automatically apply to everyone, I'm actually going to give you a system to help you choose the winner for yourself. You'll see what I mean. Let's get into it. All right, category number 1, design. This is actually one of the greatest differences between these two wallets, which is kind of funny to say because there's only so many ways you can make a card. Starting with Tangem, this card is made out of plastic, which allows it to be durable. You can bend it and twist it, and it's pretty forgiving. It doesn't leave any noticeable creases or lines unless you really try to bend it hard. Tangem also offers several different designs you can choose from, which is kind of fun. It lets you personalize your wallet a bit. But you can only get the limited edition designs if you order the 3-pack. That's another thing that's unique to Tangem. You can only order it in a 2 or a 3-pack. I'll explain why later. By the way, if you decide either of these wallets are for you, then I've left links down in the description that will get you a nice discount on both of them, so make sure to take advantage of those. Arculus, on the other hand, doesn't have many design options. You can choose from black, silver, and the XRP edition, and you only get one card. It doesn't come in a pack. The card, though, is made mostly from solid treated stainless steel. It also has a PVC inlay and a polymer protective layer on the back. It's still just as thin as Tangem, and even though it's metal, it's surprisingly flexible as well. You can bend it and twist it, and it goes back to normal without leaving any permanent creases. Internally, both wallets are almost identical. They both use a secure element chip. They both have an NFC antenna. They don't have batteries, so you don't have to worry about charging them or the battery failing, and of course, there's no cables involved. That said, Tangem is IP69K rated, which is the highest level of ingress protection you can get, so it is completely dust and waterproof, but it's also resistant to EMPs, electrostatic discharge, and X-ray machines, such as if you're going through airport security. It's not going to affect the card. Now, there's no official public claim from Arculus that it protects you from those same threats. However, I did email Arculus, and they did confirm that it is waterproof and of course dustproof, and it's also resistant to EMPs, electrostatic discharge, and X-ray machines, so pretty similar to Tangem. And that actually brings up another important topic, and I don't know if this was a one-off thing, but I emailed Arculus at 11:08 a.m., and by 11:23 a.m., they responded. So their customer support, at least this time, seems to be extremely quick. I've never received a response from Tangem that quickly. The quickest I've received a response from them is maybe the same day. And get this actually blew my mind because you never see it in the crypto space. Arculus actually has a phone number on their website, and you can call it, and I did call it 4 times. Nobody answered. However, you can leave a voicemail and they will get back to you. Also, did you notice it's a US phone number? Which leads us to the last design detail, where these wallets are manufactured. So Tangem is headquartered in Switzerland. Their firmware is designed by their team wherever they live, probably remotely somewhere. The chip in the Tangem card is made by Samsung. And then the cards are actually put together in either Hong Kong or Indonesia, which is pretty standard for most hardware wallets on the market. Arculus, though, is made in America. It's one of the only hardware wallets made in the USA. More specifically, they're located in New Jersey. On top of that, Arculus is actually owned by CompoSecure, and they've been making these exact type of financial security cards since 2000. So they have decades of experience making these types of products. Now, whether the manufacturing location matters is really up to you. If you want to support a US-based company, then you might have preference. However, when it comes to security, it's not as big of an issue because the firmware isn't being developed by the country necessarily, it's being developed by the actual team, and then the product is just being put together in these countries. So while you can definitely argue that Tangem offers the cooler designs and is formally IP69 rated, I think Arculus is the clear winner of the design category. So then we have category number 2, features. Straight up, which wallet can do more stuff? And this also really separates these wallets, and I think this will be a big determining factor when deciding which one is the best option for you. I've broken this section into 5 simple parts because there's a lot of features that we're going to cover. First, core wallet features. Second, asset and portfolio management tools. Third, earning opportunities. Fourth, advanced dApp features. And fifth, traditional finance integrations. So starting with the core wallet features, these are the features that everyone is going to interact with at some point if using one of these wallets. The biggest difference between Tangem and Arculus is how they handle receiving addresses. For example, when you send Bitcoin to your Tangem wallet, it reuses the same Bitcoin address. This is known as a static address. This is not the norm because most hardware wallets will actually keep changing the Bitcoin receiving address for added privacy. However, the only way to get a new address with Tangem is to create what they call a sub-account. And you can create up to 20 sub-accounts using one wallet, but this is a manual change. It doesn't automatically change receiving addresses. The sub-accounts are cool though, because you can create different accounts within the same wallet with different receiving addresses for different things like different portfolios. Maybe you have a long-term and a short-term portfolio, or maybe you have your significant other's portfolio in your same wallet. So it does allow you to organize your crypto really effectively. Arculus does not offer a multi-account feature, but do you know what it does offer? Changing receiving addresses. So every time you send Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, or Dogecoin to your Arculus wallet, it automatically generates a brand new receiving address for increased privacy. This is a highly requested feature in Tangem that hasn't been added yet, even though they say they will add it eventually, but it is available right now in the Arculus wallet, which is pretty big. Moving on to the next core feature, both wallets allow you to hide or mask your portfolio balance. Tangem uses a flip to hide feature, so when it's enabled, you can just flip your phone to hide or unhide balances, whereas Arculus is just a simple on or off feature. You don't have to flip your phone for it to work. And the last core feature is the ability to add multiple cards or wallet in the same app. So Tangem allows you to add virtually as many cards or as many wallets as you want and manage them all in one app. And to switch between your different wallets, you just swipe left and right at the top of the screen. Arculus also allows you to add virtually as many Arculus cards as you want, and to switch between the different wallets, you just hit the drop down arrow and select a wallet that you want to access. Okay, now moving on to asset and portfolio management tools. These features ultimately help you better organize and keep track of all of your crypto. First is transaction history. Both wallets let you view the transaction history, but Tangem is only accessible by tapping each individual cryptocurrency and viewing the transaction history there. Arculus, though, has a dedicated history tab that gives you a full breakdown of your wallet's total transaction history, organized by month and year, which is really nice. Or you can also select a specific crypto to view a specified breakdown of that specific token's history. Okay, another important feature is being able to manage and filter your different cryptocurrencies and blockchain networks. Tangem is fairly limited in this aspect. Of course, you can add new coins and tokens. You can also reorganize them however you want. You can also hide tokens you no longer want displayed, but that's about it. Arculus not only lets you add and hide tokens as you please, but you can order your portfolio by name and even value. You can also really clean up your portfolio by grouping everything together by blockchain or token. Furthermore, you can hide coins that have a zero balance. Also, if you hide certain tokens and can't remember which ones, you can enable all coins with a balance, which is super helpful. One feature that Tangem has and Arculus doesn't is the market data and news tab. This feature lets you view trending crypto news. You can also research any token you want to find more info about, like its security score, market cap, price performance over time, and a bunch of other information. Okay, next we're moving on to earning opportunity features within each wallet. Tangem allows you to natively stake various cryptocurrencies directly in the app, crypto like Cardano, Atom, Binance Coin, Solana, and a few others, with more on the way. You can also earn yield using Tangem's yield mode, which allows you to earn interest on various stablecoins and select tokens that work with Aave, such as USDT, USDC, and DAI. Arculus also offers native staking for several assets like Cardano, Atom, Solana, and Injective. It also supports certain Ethereum-based assets like Lido staked ETH. However, it does not offer any sort of stablecoin yield, at least not yet. Now let's look at some more advanced decentralized app or dApp features. Both Tangem and Arculus allow you to connect to external dApps on both Ethereum and Solana networks using the Wallet Connect feature in the settings. But one feature Arculus offers that Tangem doesn't is the ability to connect directly to MetaMask. So if you want the security of Arculus but prefer managing your crypto through MetaMask software, you can do that with Arculus. You can't connect Tangem to any external wallets. And lastly, we have traditional finance integration features. So features that allow us to somehow use our crypto wallet to communicate with the real world. So Tangem has Tangem Pay. This is one of the world's first self-custodial debit cards. So you actually own and control the crypto in this debit card, but it allows you to spend USDC at over 95 million different Visa terminals worldwide, as well as online or really anywhere that accepts Apple and Google Pay. That said, Tangem Pay is still fairly new and it's slowly being rolled out to the people who join the waitlist, so it's not available to everyone just yet, but eventually it will be. But Arculus also has a really cool MoneyGram feature. This lets you cash in or cash out using your wallet and a local MoneyGram location. For example, cash in allows you to deposit cash at a MoneyGram location and receive USDC directly in your Arculus wallet, or cash out lets you send USDC from your Arculus wallet and pick up money at any MoneyGram location. Also pretty cool. But overall, Tangem continues to roll out new features and rolls them out pretty quickly compared to Arculus, so the winner for the features category goes to Tangem. Okay, now category number 3, ease of use. Ease of use is just as important as security in my opinion, because if you don't know how to use your hardware wallet, then you're more likely to make a costly mistake. Now, for years I have said that Tangem is the most beginner-friendly and most user-friendly hardware wallet you can buy, and that's still the case. However, Arculus is now giving Tangem a run for its money. Both Tangem and Arculus are mobile-only NFC wallets, which means you can only use them with an iOS or Android mobile phone that has NFC or near-field communication. However, there's one big difference that I noticed during the setup process. Tangem is advertised as being able to set up their wallet in 60 seconds or less, even if you're a beginner, which is true, but only if you set it up without a seed phrase, and that's the first major difference. Tangem gives you 3 options for setting up a new wallet. The default option is to generate a brand new master key offline directly on the secure element chip inside the card. This means the seed phrase is never shown or shared with anyone, including you, so this is known as a seedless wallet setup. If you choose this setup option, then the Tangem cards are your only backup methods because you don't have a seed phrase to access your crypto. So if you were to lose all of your Tangem cards, you would lose access to all of your crypto, but that's why they have additional methods that you can choose to set up your wallet. The second option lets you generate a brand new 12 or 24 word seed phrase, just like any hardware wallet. If you pick this method, the phrase is displayed in the app just long enough for you to write it down, then it's erased from the app and securely transferred to your cards. And the third option just lets you import an existing seed phrase if you already have one from another wallet. That said, if you're new to hardware wallets and don't understand the significance of using a seed phrase, then I could see how this setup process might be a little bit confusing because you might not know which option to choose. This is also why Tangem comes in either a 2 or a 3 pack, because if you do choose to set up the wallet without a seed phrase, then these cards are your only backup option. So by default, Tangem requires a minimum of 2 cards to set up one wallet, which is why the minimum buy requirement is a 2-pack of Tangem cards and they don't sell them individually. Arculus is a bit different. It just uses the standard setup process. So you can either generate a 12 or a 24 word seed phrase or import an existing seed phrase, but there is no option to create a wallet without a seed phrase like with Tangem. But what about actual day-to-day use? Like, what is it like to actually use these wallets to manage your crypto? Well, with Tangem, to initiate a transaction, like to send crypto, for example, you just tap the crypto you want to send, hit the send button, enter the amount of crypto you want to send, scan your card, enter your access code, and then scan the card again to confirm the transaction. So it's fairly simple. And Arculus works pretty much exactly the same, except you don't enter your access code, you enter the PIN, but that's really the only difference. I guess the other one difference that I noticed is with Tangem, it doesn't matter which side of the card you can scan either the front or the back. However, with Arculus, you have to scan the back polymer side because the NFC doesn't go through the metal front of the card. So that's why it says touch this side to your phone. One of the biggest fears for a lot of hardware wallet users is having to update the wallet's firmware. Both Arculus and Tangem use an immutable firmware, so they come from the factory with a firmware that can never be changed. So you don't have to update the firmware on your Tangem or Arculus card. The only thing you ever have to update to get access to new features and security fixes and usability fixes is the app on your phone. And it's just like updating any other app on your phone. So it's pretty straightforward. So both wallets work virtually the same. But I think Arculus is just a little bit more simple because it has less features in the app. So the winner for the ease of use category has to go to Arculus. All right, category number 4, support. More specifically, coin support. This is one of the first things I always recommend people check when choosing a hardware wallet, because if the wallet doesn't support the cryptocurrencies that you want to secure, well then you can't even use it. So this is where you should always start. That said, Tangem has some of the strongest coin and network support out of any hardware wallet, supporting over 85 different blockchain networks and tens of thousands of cryptocurrencies. Arculus does support more than 95% of the total crypto market cap, which really just means it supports all the popular cryptocurrencies, but it's still not as broad as Tangem. It only supports a little over 20 different blockchain networks and maybe 10,000 different cryptocurrencies. Of course, both wallets support all the major cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, XRP, Ethereum, Solana, but the clear winner here is Tangem. They have the best coin support. All right, so that brings us to my last category, security. This word carries a lot of weight when people are looking into what is the best hardware wallet. Now, to be fair, most all the hardware wallets on the market today will secure your crypto. That's just a fact. But for you extra cautious folks, this is still an important topic to look into. For the past 8 years, Tangem has proven to be a secure hardware wallet. There's been no compromises, and when you initially set up the wallet, you get to create that access code, which prevents anyone from just picking up your card and using it on their phone. But the cool thing about the access code is that it uses a mix of numbers, letters, and even symbols, so you can create a truly unique and random password. Whereas with Arculus, you're limited to creating a 6-digit PIN, which could eventually be guessed. However, the main difference with Arculus is that after 3 failed PIN attempts, the wallet resets itself so that no one can access it. Whereas with Tangem, if you enter the wrong access code, it just keeps increasing the time that you have to wait to try entering an access code again. Another awesome feature that both Tangem and Arculus share is what I call a privacy screen. I don't know if that's what it's actually called, but that's what I'm calling it. Anytime sensitive information is shown, like when you're setting up your seed phrase, it can't be screenshotted or recorded. If you try, it just appears blank. Super cool feature that most people don't know about. Both wallets use what Arculus calls 3-factor authentication, or 3FA. Basically, you can enable biometrics to initially access the app, and then you need your access code or PIN along with scanning your card to approve a transaction. So there's 3 layers of protection just to transact. But the main security difference between these two wallets actually comes down to their code. So both Tangem and Arculus use a closed source firmware, and this is likely because they both use an EAL6 plus secure element chip, which is the most secure type of chip that you'll find in a hardware wallet. But many of these chip manufacturers require these hardware wallet companies to sign a non-disclosure agreement, which means they have to keep certain aspects of their wallet closed source. However, with Tangem, the app is 100% open source and viewable on GitHub, whereas with Arculus, the app isn't open source, it's still closed source. But when I was emailing Arculus, they did mention that they might be open sourcing some parts of their wallet. I don't know what parts, and I wouldn't give that too much weight until it actually happens. But another important security aspect to consider is third-party security audits. This just ensures that the company isn't hiding any backdoors or potential vulnerabilities. Tangem has completed 3 audits so far, one in 2018, another one in 2023, and then most recently in 2025. Now here's what's really interesting about Arculus. Their parent company, CompoSecure, is a publicly traded company, so they have to file their products with the SEC. This includes the Arculus hardware wallet. Those filings disclose things like third-party security audits and ongoing compliance reviews. And as part of those disclosures, Arculus has reported third-party security audits in 2021, 2023, and 2024. They also reported ongoing SOC 2 review related to their internal controls and software development process. Basically, an SOC 2 review evaluates how a company handles privacy, security, confidentiality, as well as integrity. All that to say, Arculus takes security pretty seriously. So when it comes to the security category, it's pretty close, but Tangem has been making hardware wallets for longer, and their app is 100% open source. So if we tally all these up, you can see that the objective winner out of the 5 categories that I made up is Tangem. But hold on, put your pitchforks down. There is no objective winner to a decision this personal or products this close. Because picking one de facto winner would mean that one winner is best for everyone. And we already know people care about different things. So I devised a very basic system to help you pick the winner for yourself. All you have to do is put these 5 categories into order of importance according to you, and then rate each one on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the best. So here's my example. I care most about security and ease of use. Then I care a lot about features, and design is decently important to me, but coin support isn't that big of a deal to me because my crypto is only on a few different blockchains, so I'd put that at the bottom. So then I assign points based on what matters most to me and give those points to whichever wallet won that category. So the winner for me is Tangem. But hey, for you, maybe you care more about coin support, and design. You might even have your own category that you add in that's also heavily weighted. I kind of see it like buying a car. Maybe you only prefer to buy American-made cars. So maybe you only prefer to buy American-made wallets. As long as you choose a wallet that fits your priorities, you really can't go wrong with either of them. That said, make sure you don't make any of these 11 mistakes after setting up your wallet. I'll see you over there in that video. God bless.